Good to see you. Welcome along to the Dorchester Hotel here in London. We are building up to a very special fight night coming your way live from the Royal Albert Hall in London on Friday night. Natasha Jonas and Lauren Price battle it out in a massive unification fight. Very much looking forward to it. Today is all about the weigh-in and the final chance for the fighters to face off before the big night coming your way on Friday night. Johnny Nelson, Matt Macklin, Andy Clark are alongside me. Just a bit of news to bring to you before we get stuck into it. We were expecting to see Cindy Ngamba make her professional debut on Friday night, but we have heard the news this morning that there has been a few issues with her pre-fight medical. We can't speculate, we don't know what that is, but a real disappointment that Cindy won't be featuring on the card, and also a real disappointment for Kirsty Babington as well, Andy, her opponent.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're right to mention her opponent because two people are involved in this,
yeah.
And as you say, we don't know what it is. Hopefully we'll see her make a professional debut soon, but she'll be devastated, to be honest with you, at the moment.
You can sympathise with both fighters, but particularly for Cindy because it was going to be her special moment, a big moment for her making a professional debut tomorrow.
That's a big deal to have your pro debut right there. I spoke to opponent Kirsty as well. Absolutely gutted. She found out last night over breakfast. She couldn't really say anything until the news broke itself. So you've got to think about both sides of the coin. It's just one of those things. It's just let the board sort out what they've got to sort out and let them move on with their career.
It does mean, though, that Fran Hennessy will be bumped up to the TV,
yes.
So that's a great opportunity for her. In terms of the night itself, though, I've said it is going to be a magical evening, a really special evening, a full female card coming away on Friday night. But Andy and Matt, it is just a great fight card in general, though, isn't it? It's every single fight.
Yeah, brilliant fight card. Particularly the main event is an absolute cracker. And I just can't wait to get inside the Royal Albert Hall.
It's a special venue, isn't it?
Definitely.
Johnny, you've boxed there, and one of the cards that you boxed on, every fighter went on to do great things.
I was sat in bed last night doing a few stats. So I looked at it. So when I boxed there, Lauren was 5, Natasha was 15. On the card, Lennox Lewis against Adrio Cadis, and Herbie Hyde. He also boxed, he got a TKO also on the card at the Albert Hall. And so you think about all the fighters that have passed through there before they became world champion. Ali, when he came to the country for the last time before he passed away, went and visited the Royal Albert Hall because he also was there. So this place is an iconic venue where you do not realise how beautiful it is and how much of a draw it has.
In terms of fighting there, what's the difference to say fighting there to somewhere like York Hall? Obviously, aesthetically is beautiful, but what would be the biggest difference?
It's like having a fight in your mum's best room because it's just nice and tidy. It looks beautiful, and you think, I'm fighting here. Now, sometimes you go to dinner shows and it's a black tie thing and it's nice, but it's really classy inside there. So for them to have boxing set inside that, it just oozes class.
I think the excitement, Andy's come across in all the fighters, hasn't it, about fighting at a venue like the Royal Albert Hall. Fran's mentioned it. I think Kirsty Babington, she's not going to get an opportunity. But that moment they're going to feel just before they walk out, it's going to be spine-tingling for them.
It is, because there are some tremendous arenas in boxing these days, have been for a number of years, but they do tend to be quite similar. The backstage area will be quite similar, the arena will be quite similar. This is something completely different. For them, it'll be really, really unique, and the dressing rooms are underground. So you can hear through the roof, I'm told, the action almost. You can hear the reverberations from the crowd, and that's not something you experience all the time.
That's not the norm, is it? Hearing basically being lower and hearing it above you before you go on. How's that going to affect things, Matt, do you think, for the fighters? Would you like that if you were fighting?
I like the sound of it. It's like the old Colosseum in Rome, isn't it? Where they're underneath and they come out to all the cheering. Like boxing is modern day gladiators. I've heard the acoustics are unbelievable in this venue as well, and like Johnny says, it's so classy. I actually went past it in a taxi yesterday, and it is a really, beautiful building, isn't it?
It is a beautiful building. Very much looking forward to it. Our main event, let's get stuck into that then. Natasha Jonas against Lauren Price. The press conference yesterday, it was pretty respectful between the two of them, because there is this narrative going around that it is a bit like Tasha's passing the torch, as it were, to Lauren Price, but Natasha's having none of that. She's not buying into that narrative, and I think that's almost been the vibe for her.
I think Joe Gallagher used the stage to try and vent a little bit of frustration he has about people's perception of the fight. Natasha has probably not said as much as Joe has, but Joe has a point in what he's saying, but the devil's in the detail. He thought he was disrespected by Lauren for not turning up for the check weigh-in. He got some meat on the bones for that. He thinks the narrative, somebody has said that Lauren is the female version of Usyk. I don't know who that somebody is. So he's letting these things run away with itself, saying that she's been knocked down in sparring. I don't know anyone else that has said that, but he's obviously bigging up his fighter to say, look, you've got it all, you've got it all, you've done it all. Lauren's not proved herself, which is totally right. She's not proved herself. So this is for Natasha to show why she has achieved what she's achieved, the experience she's gone through, and for Lauren to actually prove herself, to say, believe in the hype.
I think Robert McCracken played an absolute blinder yesterday, because I know Joe was going to say X, Y, and Z.
Oh, he was class, wasn't he?
Robert just came in, killed him with kindness, praised him, dead respectful. What can you do?
Well, let's just explain that was all over on Tuesday. Have to get the days of the week right, because it's Friday fight night. On Tuesday, Lauren and Tasha were due to do a face-off, but Tasha turned up, Lauren didn't. Joe felt that was disrespecting Tasha, but actually it transpired. I think there was a little bit of a miscommunication in terms of when Lauren actually needed to be there. And I thought Rob handled that very well yesterday, taking it on the chin.
Oh, he did. Like Matt said, he just took the air out of Joe's tyres, didn't he? Because there wasn't really anywhere to go with it once he immediately apologised for it and said, listen, I'll take that one. That was my fault. And me and Matt had a chat with Rob and Joe after the weigh-in, actually, and they're a pair of crafty old foxes, basically, with different outlooks and approaches to things. Rob doesn't really say that much, but when you need him, and he felt like he was needed yesterday at the press conference, that's what he said to us. That's part of your job. You know, he felt like Lauren needed a bit of support up there, because Joe is a bit of a master at press conferences, and so he just lent into that, did what he needed to do, and then stepped back. So he did. He took the wind out of Joe's sails a bit. And I think Joe kind of knew, didn't he? So he wasn't going to just keep fighting an uphill battle there. There was no point in it.
No, it takes two people to have a dance. If you stop dancing, I have to stop dancing. You know, and then when Robert didn't give him anything to go back on, he just took the play away from him. It kind of killed his little plan.
There's also a lot of respect there from Rob towards Tasha as well, because of the GB setup. There's that kind of undertone as well, Johnny.
Rob has the inside track on almost every top-level fighter in this country, because at some point they pass through the Institute of Sport where he's at, so he understands the strengths and the weaknesses, and that's why he's respectful, and he'll instill it in Lauren's head. Be respectful, because this girl can punch, she can box, and he'll talk about her strengths and talk about her weaknesses. I know Joe has also said we've got far too much variety for Lauren to deal with, although she's not showing it yet. And Lauren is saying, you've not seen a fraction of what I'm capable of doing. So Friday night is about just new things for us. What are we going to see? What Lauren's got? What are we going to see in regards to what Natasha has left? So it's intriguing, to say the least.
In terms of Lauren, what we've seen, it has been so far so good, but we haven't really seen her be tested, and I think she'll be the first one to admit that, Matt, herself. And perhaps Tasha could be the one to really test her on Friday night and find out what she will do in that scenario.
Yeah, I think, you know, she said it herself. Undoubtedly, Tasha is by far her best opponent to date, certainly as a professional. You know, she can punch, she's experienced, she's a southpaw. I know Lauren's a southpaw, but sometimes southpaws don't fight or find other southpaws awkward, you know. So, on paper, this is definitely her toughest test. But I think she feels, and I probably agree with her, it'll probably bring the best out in her.
I think Lauren was kind of surprised when Joe Gallagher started quoting some of her amateur opponents and saying how she performed against them. I think Lauren was surprised at the in-depth tuition he'd done on her, thinking this guy's done his homework.
Or Joe's been digging around, hasn't he? He's been bringing out sparring stories and all sorts, which you can't really go there on at all, really, Andy. You can't really read too much into that when you start saying about that.
Not really, no, but I understand why he's done it, and he's right to ask the question, because what we don't know about Price, we know she's got plenty of grit. We know that in terms of her boxing life, she's dug in and got through it when there have been hard times. But in pro boxing, without the head guard and with those smaller gloves, what we're talking about is that split second of adversity when you get hit hard and the flash bulbs go off and you don't know what's going on, because you've got a very short period of time in which you make a decision. Do you get through it or do you not get through it? That's not something you get to sit down and think about. It's in the moment, and that hasn't happened to her yet, and we don't know what she'll do when that happens. She feels like she knows, and that's fine, but actually nobody knows.
Those questions will be answered if Natasha gets herself in a position where she's putting persistent pressure on Lauren, persistently hitting her when she least expects to get hit, persistently hurting her, because you'll get hurt once, you'll come back, you'll get hurt twice, but when it keeps happening, that's where your true grit says, I can do this, I can get through this. We've never seen Lauren in that situation, but is Natasha capable? Is she fresh enough? Does she have the pace to produce consistent pressure?
One thing Lauren isn't sure on, and that is confidence. Supremely confident about this one. Do you like that about her?
I do. I do, but I do also think that
concerned that maybe too confident going into this?
It can be slightly dangerous. It doesn't mean that you're not going to train hard. It doesn't mean that you'll overlook your opponent. But I looked into this a lot over the last 18 months, and I talked to these two about it in detail. And every fighter said to me that you have to have an awareness, a realism about what can happen in there. It doesn't make it a self-fulfilling prophecy if you contemplate defeat. It doesn't mean that that makes it more likely to happen. But if you go through your career feeling like there are things that can't happen to you, as in losing or getting knocked out, then that's dangerous. And talking to Lauren Price, I wonder whether there is a universe in which she can imagine Natasha Jonas beating her. I suspect there probably isn't, but at the same time, I feel like there needs to be, to have that bit of fear.
Listen, I remember when Princess Naseem Hamed boxed. He thought nobody's ever going to beat me. But when the bubble was burst and he lost, he was never the same fighter again, because reality had to kick in. We've seen it with Tyson Fury. We've seen it with Anthony Joshua. When you're up there, you think, I cannot be beaten. You really truly believe it. When it happens, you're never the same person again afterwards.
But is there an argument that Lauren really has no other option to be supremely confident going into this fight? I mean, so far she has proven herself, yes, against not the kind of calibre of Natasha Jonas, but you kind of have to approach the fight with that mentality. What do you think?
Why wouldn't she be confident? Yeah. That confidence been deserved, it's been earned. You know, she should believe in herself. She's achieved and won and achieved all her life, not just now in boxing. So obviously she's got that self-belief, but, you know, you have to, in my opinion, you have to be aware that there is a possibility, if you're not right and you're not at the top of your game, that you could get beaten. That's what made me anyway, perform to my best. I liked it when I was nervous. When I wasn't nervous, I was nervous that I wasn't nervous, because I knew I underperformed and I wasn't reacting as quick and I wasn't as sharp when I didn't have a little bit, a healthy amount of fear.
The problem is there's too much focusing on being unbeaten. There's so many lessons that can be learned when you are beaten. It makes you a better fighter. And unfortunately, in today's society, people think if they're not unbeaten, they're not special. It doesn't mean anything.
But isn't Natasha a prime example of that? You look at the Vivian Obanov loss.
She was written off.
How much that hurt her at the time, and you know, many people essentially wrote her off, didn't they? And look what she's now gone on to achieve since then.
And that's why she got the opportunity after to get a crap, because they thought she's done, she's washed up, and look what she did.
I remember years ago reading a quote from one of the old-time matchmakers in the 50s, and he said, show me an undefeated fighter and I'll show you a kid that can't fight, because it meant they'd been protected, that they hadn't actually fought anyone yet.
The thing that Natasha has from the losses like that, and then going on to be a two-weight unified champion, she has that bags of experience under her belt, which is something that Lauren doesn't necessarily have. This is just her 9th professional fight that she's going for this unification. How much of a difference do you think that will play on Friday night?
Yeah, I think it definitely can make a difference. I know that top-level amateurs always scratch their head a bit when people talk about their lack of experience. I remember Galal Yafai saying a similar thing before his fight with Sonny Edwards. But what she hasn't had, Lauren Price, as a pro, is any real experience of adversity. And that's what Jonas has had. And she's come through it, like Johnny said. And that really that really does mean something. One thing that I think is worth mentioning, because it's weigh-in day, and Joe pointed this out to me and Matt yesterday, is that on the night, Lauren Price will be bigger than Natasha Jonas. We reckon in the ring on fight night, she's probably about 155, 160, because she was a middleweight as an amateur. She's chosen to come down to welterweight, whereas Tasha, her best weight is probably 140. She'll probably be more like 150 on the night. So physically, Price will have that advantage. It's just not something we've really talked about during the week.
We can get stuck into that whilst the weigh-in is going on, which is just about to get started. The undercard will kick us off, and Big Mo will talk us through it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Dorchester Hotel here in London for the official weigh-ins ahead of another historic night on Friday night as boxing returns to the Royal Albert Hall for another all-women's card headlined by the unification bout between Natasha Jonas and Lauren Price. We would like to thank our sponsors Betfred, Riyadh Season, That Prize Guy, Hell Energy, Car Finance 24/7, Village Hotels, IFX Payments, and Champion. All bouts tomorrow night taking place at the Royal Albert Hall are promoted by Ben Shalom and Boxer and brought to you live on Sky Sports. We begin in the Super Bantamweight division, where the WBA Intercontinental Super Bantamweight Championship will be on the line. 8 2-minute rounds at the Royal Albert Hall. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner tomorrow night, she is a veteran of 21 professional bouts, with one of those wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Bournemouth, England, please welcome Gemma Rebel Ruegg. Official weight, 8 stone, 8 pounds, 5 ounces for Gemma Ruegg. And now her opponent fighting out of the red corner. She is undefeated as a professional with 5 victories, opposite no defeats. Fighting out of Sevenoaks, Kent, England, please welcome the current reigning, defending WBA Intercontinental Super Bantamweight Champion, the $1 billion baby, Francesca Hennessy. Official weight, 8 stone, 8 pounds, 5 ounces for the defending champion, Francesca Hennessy.
So, Johnny, an opportunity for Fran Hennessy. She moves up to the TV card, which is a real opportunity for her to grab some more limelight.
Without a doubt, Fran Hennessy, she's one of my favourite fighters going. She lives in the moment. She enjoys every second of it. She enjoys being popular. She enjoys being in the spotlight. And realistically, that's what it should be, because if you're going to get yourself in a position and doing your sport, enjoy it. And that's when you produce cameos of brilliance. She's got a big, naive smile on her face. She loves to have a fight. And to me, as long as she keeps winning, her fan base will grow massively.
Ruegg has come in at sort of late notice, but that's part of the boxing game, Matt. It's what you have to do, isn't it? You don't know who you're going to fight necessarily all the time, and these late adjustments you have to make.
Of course you do. You've got to stay ready, stay fit, and you've got to be able to adjust and adapt mid-fight, let alone
Boxing has returned to the Royal Albert Hall tomorrow night.
What are you expecting in this fight? What do you want to see from Francesca Hennessy on Friday night?
I like this match because Gemma Ruegg's a very capable fighter, a tough fighter, and she'll fancy her chances of asking some serious questions of Hennessy. And that's what you want in the early stages of somebody's career, someone who's rated and has got some backing like Hennessy. You want to see them set a series of tests, a series of exams, and they don't need to be easy. You need to learn something every time, and Gemma Ruegg will definitely ask questions of her.
Very young Francesca Hennessy, but there is a real confidence about her. And what is lovely to see is she seems to really enjoy it as well and soak at the moment. The dancing on the ring walk, the relaxed nature of that. But then when you get in the ring, it is all business. But you like that about her?
I love it because this is a very, very hard business and you need to take the enjoyment where you can. And she does that.
Okay, well, we can hear from Fran now. She's with Andy.
Francesca, it's probably all changed for you in terms of opponent in Gemma Ruegg, but presumably the goal remains the same.
Oh, 100%. You know, Gemma's a very strong, tough woman. You know, I'm expecting her to come and, you know, try to take my head off. So, yeah, goal stays the same. I've been focusing on myself. I'm feeling great, and I'm ready to put on a show. With a late change of opponent, you almost don't have time to worry about it. So what is the point in keeping yourself up? Oh, definitely not. Look, all I have to worry about is what I'm doing in the gym. And as long as I'm feeling 100%, I know I can beat anyone. So I'm ready for anything, and I'm ready to put on a big performance. That being said, she's got nothing to lose, which makes her very, very dangerous. Oh, 100%. As I said, you know, Gemma, she won a title in her last fight. You know, she's going to come here. She's coming to win. And I'm ready for that. I'm ready for her to come try to take my head off. And as I said, I'm going to put on a big performance. What you do in the ring so far has spoken for itself. You do like to add a little bit of glitz and glamour in terms of the ring walk or the attire. Anything planned for tomorrow? Of course there is, but I'll leave that for everyone to see tomorrow. All the great supporters, thank you so much. As I said, I'm going to put on an amazing show for you all. Best of luck, Francesca. And we will bring in Gemma Ruegg because, Gemma, you've answered the call. Great to have you on the show. I mean, how's it all changed for you in the last sort of 48 hours? You're now TV1 at the Royal Albert Hall on this massive bill. What an opportunity for you, Commonwealth Silver Champion yourself. How do you go about beating Francesca Hennessy?
Just be me. Be me, that's all it is. We were waiting for a call anyway. We knew something was going to come across, so I was ready for anything really. But glad we got this call because I'm excited for the fight. Like the way she fights. I think it's going to bring the best out of me. So I think we're going to have some explosions in the ring. Yeah, you've reaped the rewards of staying ready. But may I ask you about, in terms of some of the calls that come, you know, they're probably not always the most glamorous, but TV1, Royal Albert Hall, iconic venue on a brilliant night of boxing, it probably doesn't get any better than that. No, it was on the first card and it was epic. It was a great opportunity and a massive milestone for women's boxing. So to be on the second, really lucky. Yeah. Best of luck. Thanks very much.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move to a bout for the European Flyweight Championship tomorrow night, live from the Royal Albert Hall on Sky Sports, scheduled for 10 two-minute rounds. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, the challenger. She holds a near-perfect professional record of 8 victories versus just 1 defeat. Fighting out of Wakefield, England, please welcome the current reigning WBA international champion, Jasmina Zapotoczna. Official weight, 7 stone, 12 ounces for Jasmina Zapotoczna. And now her opponent, the defending champion tomorrow night. She is undefeated as a professional with 8 victories, opposite no defeats. Fighting out of Birkenhead, England, please welcome the reigning, defending European flyweight champion, Chloe Watson. Official weight, 7 stone, 12 ounces for the defending champion, Chloe Watson.
Chloe Watson against Jasmina Zapotoczna for the European flyweight title, Andy. I mean, a bit of a full circle moment for Chloe Watson tomorrow night because went to the same school as Tasha Jonas, not at the same time. But Tasha's been a bit of an inspiration to her. I guess almost the reason why she's doing this. So that's quite a nice thing to be on the same card.
It is, and it's amazing how these things can happen, isn't it? And you look at the journey she's been on, and she's got Ricky Hatton in the corner, has had him there from the start. So she's had great people to look up to and great people to learn from in the gym. I do think this is a really good fight. Zapotoczna is a good fighter. She's proven that. You know, she had a narrow defeat against Shannon Ryan in the away corner, then one in the away corner against Maisie Rose Courtney. They rate her highly in that in that Dickie's gym in Batley that Callum Simpson boxes out of. And you look at her physically, she's in terrific shape, long arms, so she's got the height and the reach on Watson. Watson will be used to that. That's how it goes for her generally, but I think as a matchup, there's a lot to like about this.
Andy just said it well there, a lot to like about this fight. What kind of problems can you see Zapotoczna causing Chloe Watson?
Well, you can see she's well up for it. She's in good shape and fit, but I think Watson's really coming along nicely. She's European champion. She's really confident, and you can see the Ricky Hatton influence in her style. She's got that sort of shifting her weight from left to right. Got that bit of a jink, bit of rhythm. Yeah, looking forward to it.
What difference does it make when you're a fighter training with someone like Ricky Hatton that has been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and has all that sort of volume of experience to impart?
Well, exactly. All of what you just said then. She'll have, where she's from as well, in Birkenhead, the Northwest. Ricky Hatton, big star in the whole boxing in the UK, never mind the Northwest, but he has been there, done it, and relatively in recent times. The modern era, he was such a big star, so popular as well, and a great boxing brain. Even though he was known for his body punching and his strength and everything, Ricky really knew the fight game. He very good boxing brain.
Johnny, what do you think it's going to come down to tomorrow night between these two?
I think it's going to come down to pace and pressure again. I think they're both very skilled fighters. And it's a case of who wants in them also, but I think they're, to me, equally that talented.
All right, let's hear what Chloe's got to say. She is with Andy.
Chloe, both in brilliant shape, as we would expect. But what do you think will be the difference between the two of you on the night?
Just my skill. Yeah, I'm just going to show up and do what I do best.
What do you have to do to beat her, would you say? It's always interesting when it's a sparring partner and someone that you've shared loads of rounds with and someone that you know well. But what do you think you have to do? What do you have to execute under the bright lights to make sure it is your hand that's raised and you do defend that title?
Just show everything that I've been working on. Show up and, just be the best me in there, and that's what you're going to see Friday.
What's the advice that Ricky Hatton has given to you? He's someone that has actually boxed at the Royal Albert Hall, knows what it's all about. I think this is fair to say this is probably the biggest platform, brightest lights, most cameras, most interviews you've had to do. How do you keep a cool head in a hot kitchen?
Just saying, take it all in, use it as experience. One day, hopefully, we'll be headlining and be in big fights. So, it's just important for me to enjoy it.
Yeah, hope you do. Well done. Let's bring in Jasmina Zapotoczna as well. Jasmina, if you could just come and join us over here. We could come to you. I feel a bit bad making everyone walk over to me. Sorry, it's not all about me. What an opportunity for you. I echo that. You're both in tremendous shape, which is no surprise. You're working with Mark Hurley and Callum Simpson up in Dickie's gym. I know that everybody works hard up there, and I think obviously the proof is in the pudding there with the way you look on the scales.
The hard work has been done. I'm just looking forward to Friday night.
It was hard to keep the smile off your face in that head-to-head there. I mean, it was quite an intense face-off. You're obviously enjoying yourself, but obviously the serious business starts tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I'm just happy to be here, and to be honest, I just can't wait to start sparring with Chloe again. So I'm just looking forward to it on Friday. Let's do the business, and then we can just keep going.
Yeah, if you didn't watch the press conference, obviously you're alluding to the fact you sparred plenty of rounds, and people keep telling me if you would have charged the admission fee to watch those spars, you would have been very, very happy. So if the fight goes like the sparring, are you confident that you come out on top?
Well, it's definitely going to be competitive. Probably the most competitive sparring we ever had. But everyone's got a plan until they get punched. So we'll see on Friday.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Wish you all the best of luck.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the featherweight division. This next contest could steal the show tomorrow night at the Royal Albert Hall. It is your Betfred fight of the night, 10 2-minute rounds, and is for the vacant British Featherweight Championship. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. She holds a professional record of 9 victories versus just 1 defeat, with 2 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Buckinghamshire, England, please welcome the current reigning WBC International Featherweight Champion, the Omen Raven Chapman. Official weight, 8 stone, 12 pounds, 5 ounces. For Raven the Omen Chapman. And now her opponent fighting out of the red corner tomorrow night. She is undefeated as a professional with 6 victories opposite no defeats, and one of those wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Macclesfield, England, please welcome the 2020 Olympic bronze medalist, Karis Artingstall. Official weight, 8 stone, 12 pounds, 5 ounces for Karis Artingstall.
The British title will be on the line for the first time in the featherweight division between Karis Artingstall and Raven Chapman. Matt, both fighters look in very good shape indeed on the scales.
Yeah, I'm expecting a really good fight. I think Chapman's experience may pose Karis Artingstall a few problems early doors, but I think Karis will work her out.
Well, for Raven Chapman, she's obviously going to this fight off the loss over Sky Nicholson. That was towards the end of last year. She'll be looking to get back to winning ways, but she's taken on Karis Artingstall, Johnny, who has been out of the ring for about a year now. Do you think there will be any ring rust for Karis? Will that be any issues for her, do you think?
I don't think there'll be any ring rust. I think the timeout and the loss, I think it just evens the level playing field up. I saw the Lonzel belt earlier that they were boxing for. If there's anything that's going to motivate you to box to the best of your ability, it's that. That is something that, even though Clive tried to kind of dismiss it, I just want to fight. That's a big deal, a very big deal.
Bit of history as well with the British title being on the line for the first time in this fight in the featherweight division in women's boxing. But Johnny, British title, as we know, historically brings out something special in the fight.
And which I expect with these two here. I don't see this fight going the distance. I see this fight setting the line instantly, and you know you'd lean towards Karis, but it's that time out of the ring. You think, how has it affected her? And I think coming in from a loss, that's going to motivate you to prove everybody, look, I'm not washed up. It's not over. It's going to be a good fight.
Are you counting how long this face-off is, Andy?
This could be an interesting one. This could be an interesting one. You were talking to Johnny there about the layoff for Artingstall. I think one thing that's going to have counted in her favour is the fact that every fight she's had, she's hit the featherweight limit, and that's not something you have to do early in your career because there's no titles. You could come in a bit over, and often you see people do that, but she's got used to that right from fight one, and she's never missed it, even though she could have, like I said. So they both look terrific on the scales.
They really do, don't they?
They do. There's history between these two. They were around the GB squad at the same time. Obviously, Artingstall got the #1 slot. She beat her in the ABAs one year. Artingstall beat Chapman. You know, there's a bit of a backstory there. They've not really gone into it a lot. I don't think they feel like there's too much in it, but they know each other.
I think they'll lead the talking in the ring. Let's hear from Karis then. She's with Andy.
Karis, everyone looks great on the scales today. Obviously, you've been in this position before, but probably the highest profile and most important fight of your career today. How does this compare, not just today, but the whole fight week? And do you feel any extra pressure with this one?
No, not at all. Raven's just another opponent in front of me, one that I need to get through on Friday if I want to be where I believe I can be.
You've boxed different opponents from different parts of the world. Raven is actually someone that you know pretty well. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage? I mean, she knows your strengths and weaknesses as well.
Yeah, we both know each other quite well. We've boxed each other years ago. We've shared rounds with each other on the GB setup years ago. I believe we are who we are. We're not going to change drastically. We might have made tweaks and improvements here and there. But if I do what I do best on Friday night, I believe I come out victorious.
It might not be important to you, but do you feel that this should be a fan-friendly fight, that this should be one that catches fire?
Tune in on Friday and find out.
We will do. Thank you very much. Let's bring in Raven Chapman as well. Raven, similar question to you there. Obviously, you've boxed up at world title level, and everybody's talking about fights in the future for both of you, but how important is it that you get past Karis on Friday?
Yeah, it's one of them. You can't look past this fight. It's a good opponent, tough opponent, and we've got to get through this one to get to where we want to be in those future fights.
Both of you have said, I can do both. I can go on the front foot, I can go on the back foot. There's more than one way to approach this fight. But do you believe at some point that the red mist may well descend and a firefight may break out between the two of you, or is that not in your plans?
I think whatever happens is going to be a great fight. And yeah, like I say, we'll see. You have to tune in, watch it Friday night and see what happens.
There you go, got to tune in to see it. Thank you very much.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, your chief support bout tomorrow night, live from the Royal Albert Hall on Sky Sports. 10 2-minute rounds, and is for the WBC Lightweight Championship of the World. Introducing first the challenger, fighting out of the blue corner. She holds a professional record of 18 victories versus just 2 defeats and 3 draws, with 10 of those wins coming by way of knockout. And she hails from Seoul, South Korea. Introducing the former WBC International Super Featherweight Champion. Please welcome Balmy Ray Shin. Official weight, 9 stone, 7 pounds for the challenger from South Korea, Balmy Ray Shin. And now, ladies and gentlemen, her opponent, the defending champion tomorrow night. She is undefeated as a professional with 10 victories, opposite no defeats, and 1 draw, with 5 of those wins coming by way of knockout. And she fights out of right here in London, England. Please welcome the current, the reigning, the defending WBC lightweight champion of the world, Sweet Caroline Dubois. Official weight, 9 stone, 7 1/2 pounds for the defending champion, Sweet Caroline Dubois.
There is so much to like about this fight between Caroline Dubois and Balmy Ray Shin. I mean, so far so good for Caroline Dubois, but Balmy Ray Shin, what kind of test do you think she will be for Caroline?
I think she'll be a tough test for Caroline. She's a WBC number 1, so she's earned her position. I think Caroline Dubois stole the show yesterday in how she conducted herself.
So confident
on the presser yesterday. Completely confident and has self-belief in herself. But when I saw Shin working out, I actually thought this ain't a walk in the park. So depending on how Caroline gets through this fight, will tell us if she's the real deal, or because I'm telling you, Shin can fight. You can tell hand-eye coordination, movement around the ring, how relaxed she is, the team that she's got with her. This girl can fight.
Yeah, Balmy Ray Shin, 18 wins, 10 by the way of knockout. A couple of losses on her record, but one of those losses to Delphine Bassoon, who we saw go, two really close fights with Katie Taylor. She's been in with some decent opposition.
Yeah, she has, and I expect the fight to be like what we're watching now. These two are not going to have to look for each other. Dubois is not going to have to look for Shin. She's going to take it to her. I can't wait for this one. I think it's going to be explosive. As long as it lasts for. It may well go down the stretch. The weights were kind of interesting. Balmy Ray Shin has been a super featherweight at title level up until now. So 9-7 was what I expected from her. That's where she's been the last couple of times she's boxed at lightweight. Dubois was 9-7.5. Lightweight's hard for her to make.
Yeah.
I just wonder whether that's a hangover from the drama we had with Adam Azim a few weeks ago. McGuigan's gym, they usually like to hit the weight on the nose, but maybe they just thought this time, let's just make sure we dip under so we don't have any of that.
We saw it yesterday at the press conference. That was a steely face-off there. Caroline very much getting in Balmy Ray Shin's grill, getting in her space, taking charge.
Yeah, she's really grown into herself, hasn't she, in terms of outside of the ring activity. She's, found her voice.
Well, let's hear what Sweet Caroline's got to say. She's with Andy.
Caroline, another intense head-to-head there. There's obviously a language barrier between you and your opponent, but you get a sense of the sort of energy she's bringing. And what did you get off of her there in the head-to-head?
we're going to let our fists do the talking. I think all the talking is done. I mean, she hasn't done much, but listen, these are Maya's belts, and there's no way. This is the closest she's getting to them.
I heard it before about, you know, the belts can give you an extra 10%. They can sort of give you a different sort of outlook on all of it. Since you've been upgraded to champion, you're world champion, do you feel any different at all?
I feel like a champ, you know. I've always been a champ, but when you get the belts, it just cements it. It just, you know, this is it. This is the qualification that we've been working for, and I'm here now. Listen, there's nothing Bo is going to do that's going to stop me. I'm coming for her head tomorrow.
I think, you know, the people that you've got around you keep you grounded. These are exactly the sort of fights when you're chasing undisputed and fellow champions. These are the ones that history have told us is where it can all go wrong if you're too busy making other plans. How have you stayed grounded and make sure, you know, you got to get Friday out the way, you got to keep winning, otherwise undisputed goes up in smoke?
Of course, listen, I was there when my brother was, you know, on top of the world, and everyone saying he was the best thing since sliced bread. He gets beat by Joyce, and, you know, all them people that were saying how great it was, they disappeared in a puff of smoke. So, you know, I understand how harsh and cold and cruel the boxing world can be, and the one thing that has stuck with me is, you know, never let success get to your head, but never let failure get to your heart. And, you know, tomorrow I'm going to be a champion. You know, I'm going to walk into the ring like a champion. I'm going to stay a champion in that ring.
I'm also interested, you know, we think we know what she brings to the ring because of the fights that are available that you can see against the likes of Delphine Pursoon. If she brings that sort of firefight and she meets you in centre ring, how does this fight go?
Listen, we'll find out. Listen, she thinks she's the toughest girl in the world. Tomorrow we find out.
Look forward to it.
Welcome to everyone joining us on Sky Sports News. We've just seen Caroline Dubois weigh in ahead of her world title defence against Bomi Shin, but it is all about the main event. Natasha Jonas against Lauren Price in a unification fight, a mouth-watering unification fight. Johnny, what are you expecting to see today on the scales?
I think this fight will match the surroundings of the Royal Albert Hall. I think this fight will definitely set on fire. You've got two Olympians that truly believe in themselves, two experienced fighters in their own field. So it's going to be youth against experience, and that's what makes this fight so intriguing.
How much of that experience in terms of from Tasha will make the difference, do you think?
I think it'll be key for Natasha, but I think the youth and speed and ability of Lauren Price counters that.
What do you think, Andy?
There's two ways you can look at this. You could look at how fresh Price is and how she doesn't have as many miles on the clock and how good she's been so far, but also Jonas has been there and done it. If Jonas can really land one on Price early and make her feel the power, which he does have, I think that's key. He's
been pretty respectful so far this week.
Don't be fooled.
So far, that's what I was about to say. Famous last words. Do you think that will continue today, or do you think we might see a little bit more between the two?
No, I think Natasha won't let that be the case. I think if it was up to Lauren, it would be. But I think the fireworks will set off as soon as about first bell goes.
We had a little bit of a disagreement on Tuesday at the open workout between the trainers, because we thought there was going to be a face-off between Tasha and Lauren, but it transpires that Tasha was there, Lauren wasn't. Bit of a miscommunication for Lauren in terms of timing, but that was all ironed out yesterday at the press conference beautifully.
Yeah, exactly. I think Joe was hyped up, ready to go at it, but I think Robert McCracken stepped in first and just took the play away from him and apologised, and he killed him with kindness.
Oh, well, let's see what happens today then, shall we? Let's hand you over to Big Mo for the introductions.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our viewers joining us on Sky Sports News. It is now time for the main event, the two women headlining the bill as boxing has returned to the Royal Albert Hall. Tomorrow night live on Sky Sports, we have a main event for the unified IBF, WBA, WBC, IBO, and Ring Magazine welterweight championships of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner.
Everyone's weighed light here today, and usually scales with a sticker with a calibration sticker on it. Until that calibration sticker is here today, that they're bang on weight, then there'll be no weighing in the main event. The scales need a calibration certificate on it. They're the rules. I'm only playing by the rules. So where's the certificate, where's the sticker that needs a calibrator? Everyone's weighed a pound light today, so I want to see these calibration on the scales.
Introducing first, ladies and gentlemen, fighting out of the blue corner, she is undefeated as a professional with 8 victories, opposite no defeats, and 2 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Istrad, Manak, Wales, please welcome the Olympic gold medalist, the MBE, the first ever women's British champion, and the reigning, the defending IBO, Ring Magazine, and WBA welterweight champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the lucky one, Lauren Price.
Andy, just a quick word on what we just heard there from Joe Gallagher asking to see the calibration certificate, saying that some of the fighters have weighed in light, but were you surprised with Caroline Dubois? I mean, she was particularly light.
Yeah, a pound. Well, she won 97.5. It's a bit light. You know, she's coming 2 pounds under the welterweight division, so maybe the scales are light.
Johnny, how does Lauren look to you?
Always looks in great condition. As I said, I saw a couple of weeks ago in the Institute of Sport. She wanted to fight then, so she's chomping at the bit. She just wants to get with this fight.
Out of the red corner,
I think Joe Gallagher
female and boxers in the world.
Creating a storm in a teacup. This is what you do when it comes to weighing. You try and create a bit of discomfort, uncomfortable situations, and so he'll complain about the opening of an envelope.
Well, he was trying on Tuesday the open workout. We had the mic drop moment from him, the outburst from Joe Gallagher.
That's part of the game to this, and he's confident and brave enough to do that, no matter what the situation is. So the British Boxing Board of Control here, the officials are here, so no matter what Joe is dealing with, they will make sure the right thing is done.
Ladies and gentlemen, she is Miss GB, Natasha Jonas.
Andy Clark, what did you make of Joe's little burst there?
So basically, he's asking for the calibration certificate. Now, as I understand it, Andy Scott just told me boxers do have it, so they're going to go and get it so they can show it to him. Joe's point is that everybody is coming quite light, and he does have a point because Lauren Price is weighing at the 10 stone 5. In the featherweight fight, Artingstall and Raven Chapman were both 8 stone 12. I mentioned that Caroline Dubois was 9 stone 7.5, which isn't as tight to the mark as she normally is. Bomi Ray Shin at 9'7" was kind of what we're expecting. So I can see what Joe Gallagher's saying with regard to the weights, because everybody has made it comfortably, and that's why he wants to see the calibration certificate, which boxers do have. Andy might get a look at it, might be able to show it to us later.
So there could be some truth behind this, but we do know Joe likes to stir the pot a little bit on fight week. Do you think there could be some of that at play a little bit back?
Well, I just said to Andy Clark, if it was anyone else but Joe, you'd think, oh yeah, if they probably are a little bit like, because it's Joe, it's a bit like the boy who cried wolf, isn't it? You think, oh, here we go, it's Joe again. But, you know, they did all come in light. And I was telling Andy off camera there, I said, look, when I fought Sergio Martinez, every single person on the card came in 2 pounds under the limit. Scales were obviously
your main event tomorrow night, Friday night.
Interesting to see this face-off between Natasha Jonas and Lauren Price. Like we said, Johnny, it has been pretty respectful between the two so far this week. A lot of the narrative has been around experience versus youth. Do you think that's what it might come down to?
Yes, without a doubt. Lauren looks the laterally bigger of the two. And this is the day before the fight. Natasha weighing in with a tracksuit on, so that's an obvious. So now it's going to be down to boxing build, pace, and youth. And so I think Natasha's got to be able to use her skill and experience to control what's happening in front of with Lauren. Right now she's doing it because Lauren, she wants to fire off at a cracker, but Natasha won't have any of it, so she's got nothing to react to. But she's got to transfer that into the ring when they're fighting.
Andy, who do you think the pressure's more in this fight?
It's a really good question, that, and I've been wrestling with it all week.
Toing and throwing it.
I've been wrestling with it all week. I think Price, because she absolutely expects to win this fight. There's a lot of expectation on her. It's not like she can't come again if she loses, but I think the pressure's more on her, strangely.
Okay, well, fascinating to hear what Natasha Jonas has got to say ahead of this huge fight coming away on Friday night. Let's hear what she's got to say. She's with Andy.
Sasha, obviously we do like a little bit of weigh-in drama. Are you happy that everything's been solved there? I've been told off camera that the Board of Control are happy. The weights are the weights. So we have a main event. We have a unified world title fight, but not without its drama.
Yeah, there's been boxing full of dramas.
And how were you on the scales?
I was light. Yeah, we'll be close on. So yeah, I'm good.
That was an intense face-off. You've done a lot of them this week, so save the best one till last. As you looked into the eyes of your opponent there, Lauren Price, what were your final thoughts?
She looks ready. I'm ready. Well, let's just do it.
Can you make your final case why you win this fight tomorrow night?
Been doing that all week. I don't need to prove to anyone else why I'm the champion, how I'm going to stay champion. I just am.
Best of luck tomorrow. Let's bring in Lauren Price, fellow champion. And Lauren, obviously same question. You're not without its drama. You're happy on those scales with the weight that you were?
Yeah, I've been drama all week, man. Just think it's obviously Gallagher's trying to make it about himself, but it is what it is. It's Jonas v Price.
And how have you dealt with that, if you don't mind me asking? It's probably the first time you've had someone in the pros pecking away at you and trying to get inside your head. How do you feel that you've coped with that? Has he succeeded in getting under that skin at all?
Definitely not. You know me, cool, calm and collected. Just looking forward to going out there tomorrow night and showing everyone how good I am.
One of the things that they did allege is that you were struggling at the weight. So I have to ask you, how did you feel on the scales?
Felt fine, I make the weight perfectly fine every camp. I'm a professional. I go on nutrition. I train hard. I don't crash a weight ever, and it's my natural weight as well.
Has this just added a little bit of a spark and lit a fire underneath you? Not that you needed one, but one of the things that Natasha said there, when I asked her what she saw when she looked at you, she said she's ready as well.
Yeah, and she, it makes for a great fight. I've said this all along. I respect Tash. Everyone tune in tomorrow night because it's going to be a great night, and I'm proud to be part of it.
Would you give me your final case as to why you win this fight as well? You've done it more than once this week. But final thoughts, why does Lauren Price come out victorious tomorrow?
I'm in my prime, it's my time, and I'm ready, and I'll be taking them belts back to Wales.
Cannot wait for it. Best of luck to both of you.
Let's just dissect a little bit what was said in those interviews and also demeanours. Tasha seemed a little bit prickly.
Yeah, I thought so too. But people change, don't they, as the witching hour gets closer and closer, and she's been down this track a number of times now, and they just get to the point where they haven't really got that much more to say. I thought everybody looked really good on the scales. Joe Gallagher may well have a point because everybody did make it by a couple of pounds. Tasha, if she'd taken her top and her trousers off, would have made it by a couple of pounds, but if the scales were a bit light, everybody's made it by a couple of pounds, so it's not really an issue, is it, in that sense?
No, exactly. If one was bang on or something and everyone else was light, that's when you'd want to check. But everyone came so much under the weight, I think everyone was bang on.
What did you make of the both of them today?
I think Lauren looked in brilliant condition. Naturally, the bigger of the two. Naturally, and this is 24 hours plus before the fight itself. Joe knows the danger that's in front of him. Joe knows how hard this fight is going to be, so he's got to cause as much drama, and this was his last chance to do it before the fight. There's a problem with the scales. She's this, she's that, being disrespectful. Joe's got to try and rattle her. Now I'm quite sure in the back of Lauren's head, he's getting on her nerves, but she's got to concentrate on the fight that's in front of her. Tasha knows what Joe's doing. Now all the talking's done. The next time these two see each other is opposite sides of the ring.
In terms of Tasha, she's used to the different sides of Joe Gallagher, isn't she? Like she said to us, sometimes she just want to hug him, sometimes she just wants to do the complete opposite, Matt.
Yeah, she's done well to sort of just block him out on fight week, because that's when he really goes to town with all his shenanigans. But I think ultimately she knows he's got her best interest at heart, so that helps her cope with him.
In terms of dealing with the occasion, the media, Lauren seems to be taking it all in her stride. She seems to be looking pretty relaxed and has been all week. But the night itself, who's going to feel it more, do you think? Because I guess Tasha has more experience headlining the bigger shows, being around the occasions.
I don't think the occasion is going to impact on either one of them, to be honest. Tasha's done it plenty of times before, but with Lauren, she's been so consistent in her mood all week that you just get the feeling she is waiting for the night to get those hands wrapped and to get into action and show everybody exactly what they can do. Joe Gallagher just exiting the stage, and scales can be a funny thing. Sometimes fighters weigh on their own scales and they come away on the official scales and they realise they've got some kind of an issue. The surface being flat can be a problem. It being on a raised platform without a really solid base to it can be a problem. But as we say, everybody's made it by a couple of pounds, so I don't think there's anything really to talk about there, because I did think it was surprising with Dubois that she was 9.7.5, and it's surprising with Price that she's 10.5, because making welterweight for her is hard, because she would be a 160 kind of fighter, I reckon, but the discussions are still continuing here.
Johnny, as a fighter though, is this not the last thing that you need to deal with really before a big fight? When there is a bit going on in the background.
I get that, and this is why people like Joe and Robert there, that's their job. So this is why Joe's doing this. He's got to try and rattle the fighter, because they don't want the drama. It's like when they go to the rules meeting or they go to pick the gloves. It's not very often the fighter goes to pick the gloves. Your coach are going, yeah, we'll sort it out. They want the fighter to just concentrate on fighting, and that's it. So as I said, this is the last chance Joe has of doing anything to try and rattle Natasha's opponent in Lauren. And so I understand that you got the British Boxing Board of their control to go up there and watch the calibrations on the weight. He's giving promoter Ben Shalom hellfire. He knows what he's doing. He's no fool. He's old school.
I'm trying to listen to you, Johnny, but I'm also trying to keep one ear on what's being said behind you. Are you hearing any of this, Andy?
I can't hear any of it, but honestly, I think at this point he's just winding himself up.
Yeah.
Because Rob McCracken and Lauren Price, I wouldn't say they're long gone. They've probably got a few interviews to do, but they're out of here. They're out of this main room. They're not interested.
It's done. Lauren weighed 10.5. Tasha was 10.6.5. Now, she may have weighed in with the clothes on to be 10.6.5, knowing that she was already under, and she checked it, and that's when Joe thought they're out. But the bottom line is the official weight's been done now. It's over, so he's only stressing himself out here.
You know there's a good chance he's going to storm this stage, don't you?
I'm fully expecting another mic drop moment from Joe Gallagher, yes, for him to come up on the stage. But yeah, he's coming. He's coming. Let's speak to the man himself.
Come on, son. And breathe.
Joe,
and breathe.
What's going on?
Listen, we're at a prestigious venue, we've got a prestigious event. We're fighting for unification, world champions. There's one thing you expect on fight night, on weighing night, to have a set of calibrated scales to make the correct weight. They're not calibrated scales. I've just been on there.
Have you seen the certificate?
Yes, I've got the certificate. The sticker's up there on the screen, and they're calibrated on the 9th of January. We're here in March, 9th of January. Them scales, boxing-wise, are put there and calibrated right here, right now, today, and they don't move. They're not calibrated at a hotel in Transworld. Once them scales have moved, they're not calibrated no more. And that sticker on it is the 9th of January. Everyone that weighed in went, they're light, they're light, they're light. And listen, I'm only protecting Natasha, and when I hear Price is struggling with weight, I'm thinking, okay, the light, because it's the main event and they wanted to make the weight. Someone's just come to me and went, well, Tasha's 10.6.5. Yes, but she weighed under all the clothes on, because we know the scales are light. If she stripped them down, she'd have been 10.5. But the point is you've got this huge prestige event, and we can't get a set of proper calibrated scales. Now, yeah, they've made the weight, but they're not calibrated. And yes, she's £2 on a pounder. But the point is it's got to be on calibrated scales. I know people say it's me kicking off again, but we're talking about world title level. Can you imagine, hypothetically, imagine Pacquiao Mayweather, I'm not saying it's like that, or Clarissa Shields, wherever else, and there weren't calibrated scales in America. And the board will turn around and go, they're happy. Of course they are. But I've got to be careful here because they'll get fined. Of course they're happy, but the same point is, because you haven't abided by the rules, they're not calibrated, and no one can produce a sticker that's dating today's date for them scales to weigh in.
So what do you want to see changed right now?
Well, nothing they can do. At the point, I just wanted to see a certificate to say that these scales are calibrated, and they're not. So technically, this isn't a world title fight because they've not been done on calibrated scales. But no one's got to push that. You will overrule me, Sky will overrule me, the board will overrule me. But at the end of the day, I'm just abiding by the rules. There should be a set of scales for a world title fight, calibrated right here, right now. And no one still, 15 minutes of the event, has come with me that certificate.
You can understand Joe's frustrations.
Yeah, no, listen, you've all worked with me for
my job. That's what I'm paid to do.
Yeah, we do understand.
I've only ever been in this situation once before, and it was actually on a card I fought Sergio Martinez, and nobody said anything because everyone came under the weight, but every single person on that card came in £2 under, and I checked mine on 2 calibrated sets of scales, so they were light, you know what I mean? So it does happen, unusual, That's the only other time I've known it, but everyone in there came in light. She was 10 stone 5, Lauren Price, so I think they all would have made the weight. I don't think there's going to be a controversy here in that regard, but I believe you when you're saying that the scales aren't right.
100%, and this is what we're on about the main event. We don't want to lose the main event. It's terrible news regarding Cindy today, but you don't lose the main event. Everyone in bothered about the undercard, but as long as the main event makes weight, that's all that is. And if them were calibrated as a pound and a half, then Lauren would have been at 10.6.12 or whatever, but she made weight. It's just play the game, just do everything by the book. Why isn't everything by? And I shouldn't be here arguing that we didn't weigh in on proper calibrated scales. And it's all right, John, wishing everyone shouting at me, but you do your job. You get Mike Goodall to do his job, and you get the calibration to do their job, not my job. Okay, I'll get a ball told off here in the rules.
Sorry, we'll just apologise for that language. Emotions, as you can see, are very much running high, Joe. It's a fair point that you're making. I'm imagining right now your focus is purely on Tasha, though, and
yeah, we're in the zone, and when you're
Friday
in the zone,
night.
and people say, "Oh, Gallagher, kick off," but we're going to war tomorrow night, and we're in the zone. And if whether you're in Trump's office or Zelensky's, or we've got a war, the arm is on. So we're prickling at everything you're looking for, every advantage, every gauge, everything else. And that's it, and that's where I so apologise to anyone who upset it today.
That's all right, Joe. You've got to go. You've got to go.
Mike on purpose.
By the way, he is right in the sense that those scales can't, being calibrated in January doesn't mean anything. Even if they were calibrated this morning, but in that room, that doesn't mean they need to be calibrated there on that level.
So regardless of what the situation is, what Joey's doing is protecting his fighter, which to me is the most important thing. Because they're the ones that are putting their life and soul on. So with Joe making a lot of noise about it, people saying, "Oh, Joe, give it up," you know what? He's protecting his fire, which I like. I like the passion. I like the responsibility, and that's what I would want. That's what I got. And that's what most fighters should have. Someone that's looking out for their best interest. Because Natasha's not bothered. She just wants to fight. So someone has to be the mouthpiece. So Joe doing what he's doing. If you're rolling your eyes, I get it, but he's protecting his fight and getting what's best for his fighter.
That's it, isn't it, Andy? Oh, sorry, Matt.
No, I was going to say, especially in a fight where his fighter is naturally smaller and the girl she's boxing is coming down in weight.
Yeah, well, one thing you can't not say about Joe is that he cares and is passionate about his fighters.
Of course.
And you can completely understand that.
Yeah, you can. And I mean, you've all worked with me for a while now, and you know what a crushingly dull man I am when it comes to procedure and rules, because they're in place for a reason.
They are.
And why shouldn't he insist that? Why can't we? All right, everybody's come in light, so I accept that. By the way, if Lauren Price had come in 10 stone 7 on the nose, there would be hell to pay right now.
Well, he wouldn't be having it. He wouldn't have had it. There's no way. He's only accepting it because he probably appreciates, okay, they're light, but everyone's come in and made weight. Everyone's light.
And this was his last opportunity to try and rattle the cage. Let's just remember that. Let's not let
honestly, though,
I don't think he's rattling the cage for the sake of rattling the cage. I think he's got a point. The scales weren't
but
calibrated.
that's what I'm saying. But if it was that, So right now they've got the rules meeting. They will give him hellfire in that back room. But he'll say, "Well, what have I said wrong? You guys didn't do your job." So that's a technical thing between those lot. At the end of the day, Lauren was well within it, so she wasn't on it. So that issue's dealt with. But the job should have been done with the scales, the calibration of the scales.
So if you're saying, quite rightly, last chance for Joe to rattle the cage, do you honestly think it's going to get under Lauren's skin and the likes of Rob McCracken? Because so far they've battered it back.
Rob, no. Lauren, if anybody, it'd be Lauren, but Rob, no. Because as far as Lauren's concerned, she's done it now. And if she goes and gets something to eat now, she'll say it's too late. I've weighed in, so you can't do anything about it. For Rob, he's seen it all. He's been there. He's been at the highest of the high.
I probably expected it anyway.
Yeah.
He's
that's what I'm saying. So Rob is old school. Again, you've got two experienced trainers that know how the system works, know how to try and poke the bear. They know what to do. We just had one here that's just really passionate about it.
I genuinely don't think that that's what this is. I think this is just what Joe explained it to be, which is just pure frustration, the fact that this is a big event, and why can't we just do everything to the letter of the law? I think that's the point he's making here. I don't think it's even really about trying to upset the other team at this point, because I think he knows that ship sailed, that's gone now. All we can do is wait for fight night now. All those opportunities have gone now.
I was going to say, we will wait to see how this all plays out. We will absolutely keep you updated. It's added a little bit of spice, isn't it, to what we thought was going to be a fairly safe way in today. In terms of the fight itself, let's just quickly rattle through. What do you think it's going to come down to, and how do you think it's going to play out, Johnny? Don't look at me like that.
I've said it all week. It's about pace. And Natasha has all the skill. She has more experience and more knowledge of being in the ring as a professional fighter than Lauren does. But it's about pace. She's 40 years old, going in against a 30-year-old, young, hungry athlete. In every sport she's in, she's been successful at it because she understands the ingredients near there and there in Lauren. So right now, it's about Natasha controlling the pace. If she lets Lauren take the pace away from her, she loses. So don't chase the pace, make sure it's at her pace. If you want to slow it down, if you want to try and muscle her out, that's what she's got to do. Lauren's a naturally strong athlete, you could tell. She's naturally bigger. I think naturally she's going to be stronger. Will the punch be as effective? I don't know, but if Lauren's going to go in there and try and rough up Natasha, hold her down, make her gas her out, then it's going to work in Lauren's favour. So the referee's going to make sure they fight clean.
Matt, what do you think it's going to come down to? What will be the difference?
I think youth, speed, physical size, natural physical size. I think all the advantages are in Lauren Price's locker, really, bar experience. But Lauren, you know, she's experienced too. Okay, maybe not as a professional, but she's fought all the top fighters in the world over the last however many years as an amateur in world championships, Olympic games, etc. So it's not like she's green. You know, she knows the game. And I actually think if this fight had come a couple of fights ago, then you know, I wouldn't have been as confident for Lauren's getting the win. But I felt like the last two fights, that transition, the pennies dropped, and she really has transitioned from an amateur to a professional.
I won't ask you, Andy, because you have your commentator's hat on. If you had to put your money on one right now, who would you go for?
You put me in position because every time I go to Liverpool, Natasha's family feed me, so I'm going to cut off my food source. But in reality, I think I'd lean towards Lauren because of the pace. I just don't think Natasha's going to be able to control the pace of that young lioness. In reality, I'm sorry, Team Jonas, but that's just my honest opinion.
Matt?
Yeah, I just think it's going to be a changing of the guard. It's going to be the young lioness coming up and taking over from Tasha, who has been a great champion, but every dog has its day, and I think Tasha's time is, you know, if it wasn't for such a good champion coming through in Lauren, she might have a little bit longer at the top, but I think, you know, it's Lauren's time now. That's what I feel.
No prediction given, understandably so, but it is and all set to be a great fight between these two. No doubt about that at all.
It really is. It really is. I've got such high hopes for this, and I understand what everybody's saying about pace and about freshness and about youth and about strength and all of that stuff. But Jonas isn't some kind of old plodder, you know, who just kind of walks out there and has got no rhythm and no fluidity. She's a really good fighter, good feet. I want to see her go out there tomorrow night and not come flying out of the trap. She's too experienced for that. But she's been hearing all week, you know, Price is going to do this and Price is going to do that, and how are you going to cope with that? She needs to impose her own game plan and just think, listen, I'm going to do what I do, what has brought me all my success. How are you going to handle that? That's what she needs to do tomorrow night. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, and she'll be listening to yours two predictions, and she'll be wanting to prove you both wrong, I'm sure, on Friday night. But it is intriguing, isn't it? It is all set to be a brilliant fight night. We would love your company. We should be live from the special venue that is the Royal Albert Hall on Friday night, 7 o'clock. Sky Sports Plus, Sky Sports Showcase, and also Sky Sports Main Event. We shall